Welcome back, guys. We got another great podcast. As you guys know, my name is Greg McDaniel. I'm the co-host of this epically awesome podcast, Real Estate Uncensored. Matt Johnson is yachting around the world again with his flock of women that follow him like sheep to the slaughter. No, I'm just kidding. He's a wonderful man, and they are wonderful women. He's actually not doing any of that. He is just having a conflict of schedules. But it's a great show. We have Byron on, and he is going to drop hammer on us, talking about distractions, what it is, what it isn't, how the distractions are going to hold you back from growth. So guys, I encourage you to stick around and listen to what this man has done, is going to say. He has changed thousands, if not tens of thousands of real estate agents' lives and careers. And he's been helping Gene for years off on the side. So Gene, welcome, my friend. How are you? How's COVID today?
Greggers, it's good to be in the catbird seat with you, my man. I don't know why you continue to let me do it, but as long as I'm invited, I am coming back.
Dude, I wouldn't do the show without you, man. It's not the same. It would be like it's like losing a member of the family without you around.
I appreciate that.
Matt, not so much. Bon voyage, Johnson. Take your fat kids with you. All right. No, Byron, welcome to the show, my friend. Give everybody a little bit of a heads up of who you are, where you are, what you do, what's your favorite color, and all the good stuff, the important stuff.
We should just start out with golf and cooking, and then red. And then I think we covered all the bases. Realestatecoach.com, married to Bernice Ross, have been coaching for many years, primarily work with people on growing both their business and their personal life. Speaker, and kind of Greg, this is really interesting because I'm kind of at a point where, how should I say, a lot of stuff I don't care about. So I'm getting really simple in life. And that is top to bottom on everything else. So we're going to talk a little bit about distractions and how distractions just completely screw up everything.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Gene, I saw you perk up there when you heard cooking and golf.
Yeah, and at the end of that, Byron, did you say bread or wine?
Well, bread, wine. I've been working on mixed cocktails. I'm this whole COVID-19, get fat in place, stuff that's going on right now. Yeah, I'm working on all of it.
What does the 19 stand for in COVID? That's the amount of drinks I have per day.
You know how they called it the freshman 15?
Yeah.
I think this is called the COVID-19.
I'll be happy if I get out of this with only putting on 19 pounds. I'll tell you that.
Wish I could say that.
Nope. Guys, I am priding myself on the fact that I'm working out more than I am. I'm running 3 to 4 miles almost every single day, 100 plus 200 push-ups, built into that with some burpees.
Yeah, you are. Listen to me real quick. I plugged in today. You're 3 hours behind me. So I see you out running the trail. It was like, what, 9 o'clock your time?
7:38, yeah.
7:30, yeah. And I looked at that and I said, this stupid son of a bitch. And then I went back to bed.
This guy's an idiot. All right.
Look at this idiot.
Let's talk about what's not an idiot. Byron, I want to talk about distractions. What are distractions? How are distractions affecting the real estate business? Is COVID a massive distraction that's kicking us off of our game plan? How do we get back on? I got 1,000 questions for you here. I just wanted you to start rolling with what you're seeing with your coaching clients.
All right. So first and foremost, distraction is a choice. You got to get that. You're not at some whim. You're not at the government's whim or anything else. Distractions basically is a choice. And so if we look at it, what distractions do essentially is just burn up cycle times, mental cycle times, so that you're not doing your work. You're not doing your workout. And there's the things that are really important to you just kind of slide by. Now, I'm not a fan of this thing called procrastination. I actually don't believe procrastination exists. It's kind of unusual, but procrastination is always tied into this thing called distraction. So let's pull these apart right now. Look, if you procrastinate on something, more than likely it's a task you have no interest in doing. Zero, zilch, nada. Gene says, hey, I see Greg running in the morning. I roll back over to go to sleep. He doesn't have a procrastination problem. He goes, I want to sleep.
That's true.
So a couple level set things. Number one, everything I do is based off a choice. If you come at it any other way, like I'm choosing to do this or I'm choosing to do that. If you come at it any other way, it's really hard to get a hold of your life, your business, your growth, and everything else. But if you look at it and say, okay, I'm in control, even though there are days where you go, I'm clearly not in control, but if you at least you come at it from that position, you start to see opportunities or choices around distraction, which start to become easier to make it.
Now, when you say you see opportunities and decisions around the distractions, walk me through that a little bit.
Sure. So there's a great example. COVID, we're on day 46, day 47, whatever it is, of eating in place. So let's consider the desire to exercise. We could move this to January 1st and say we're now doing our great New Year's resolutions. And so this is what, I'm going to do this and this and this. All right. So most people say, I want to exercise. Okay. Mm-hmm. Greg, you're doing what? 200 push-ups a day, 200 sit-ups?
100 to 200 push-ups a day. And I'm pushing anywhere from 3.6 to 4.2 miles on an average run.
Yeah, did you start at 100 push-ups?
Oh God, no. I started at like a year and a half ago when I started running. I haven't been running in a long period of time. My girlfriend challenged me to do a Spartan race, right? And she legitimately asked me, Greg, can you do a quarter mile? And I said, I don't know. And so I went out and ran a quarter mile. I'm like, oh, it's pretty easy. And then I built up over time.
So Gene and I, when we say quarter mile, Gene and I would go out, get in the car, turn the car over, drive a quarter mile and say, no problem. I think I'm good for another couple miles.
And it would still take me 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, that's because I'd have to get through the donut that I have in the front seat, that's waiting me, and then drive through, No, look. So look, here's this whole idea about the push-up thing. So as a way to start exercise, it's called the one push-up rule. And this is a great technique for anybody who wants to start exercising. Commit to doing one. I don't care whether it's a push-up. I don't care, sit up, whatever stretch, whatever it is you want to do one. Now, what's unusual about that is if you commit to one, what will happen is it's usually pretty easy. Number one. Number two, your brain doesn't say, no, I really can't exercise. I don't have time. You go, it's one push-up. So the simplicity here is that if you actually start getting into action, it's amazing how distraction starts to just completely disappear. In other words, so if you'll start with one item, one option, whatever you do, if you do one, guess what? You're going to probably sit there and say, well, two's no big deal. But the key is to commit to one. So this whole idea about distraction usually is this internal conversation. And I'm not sure whether it's me, myself, and I having this or anyone else, but it's that internal conversation where someone just says, no, I don't feel like doing this. No, I don't want to do it. No, it's not the right mood. No, that's a little after. No, I'm going to eat soon. I'm going to, do one push-up and use that exact same thing for any challenge you have in life.
I when it goes back to the whole working out thing, I have a gigantic pool right down there. Unfortunately, COVID has totally screwed up my swimming abilities. But back a couple of years ago, I'm like, you know what? I'm a hell of a good swimmer. I have a pool that's readily available. I have 3 pools readily available to me. Why am I not swimming? Well, I don't want to get in a swimsuit. Why? Because I'm a chunkster. Oh shit. Well, then I'm a total. I'm a sum of every decision I've ever made. So it's only my fault. And so I did the same thing. I said, okay, I'm going to go down. I'm going to do 20 laps. I went down there and I'm going to get out. Went down there, did 20 laps. Easy peasy. Next day, 25, 35, 45, 50. Soon as I had 100 laps, and it was very easy with the progression. I took action versus, being instead of being in a state of reaction, I took action. And I think that's a lot of the times what agents and people fail to do.
Yes.
Have you seen, Byron, that people go into a victim mindset? They woe is me. I'm deserving of this. This should be mine. Why is everyone else beating me? But yet they don't do anything to actually get the results. They just kind of bah humbug everybody who is.
Okay, so look, I'm going to agree with you. And the challenge is that almost no one who hires me to work with them as their coach ever comes to me with that mindset. The reason being is that if they actually had that mindset, and they did come to me, then there's somewhere on that spectrum that says, okay, maybe this is not exactly true. maybe, maybe I'm not the victim at all of this stuff. So look, one of the crucial things right now is if you were having a challenge, again, if you've got it at this point, you should be so overloaded on Netflix and everything else that just walking around the block, heck, walking around the house or apartment or wherever you're at has got to be a relief just because you're not doing it. So look, Greg, this whole idea about someone who comes in and says, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. It just tells you where they're at. And not right or wrong. Look, some days, I just don't want to exercise. I don't care what it is. I just have zero. And look, I'm committing to one. I'm up to 15 push-ups, but I mean, I do one. But the easy thing about one, and this is the really sly thing, and you said this earlier, Greg, which was brilliant, and that is if you take action. In other words, you went down to the pool. The way I look at it is the pool is about 800 yards from me. That's it, 800 yards. I don't care what I look like in a swimsuit. And a matter of fact, well, I take that back. I cannot make that statement, but I have found a way around it, which what I mean is I wear my Speedo with the suit over it. So I get in the pool, take my suit off, have the Speedo down below, then put the suit back on because I never get out wearing that Speedo. Look, that's a scary thought. All right. So the idea is if I just get down to the pool, momentum carries me. So the story that you told about doing 20 laps was you just had to get to the pool. And that's how most people, if they actually, whether they go to the gym as soon as they open, but go to the gym, go to the park, exercise, sit down, sit to do a push-up. If you actually take that action, it's amazing how far you'll get.
It is, Gene.
No, I was going to say I can relate to all this. Monday, I said to my wife, do you think I could eat this Snickers? And she said, yeah. And Tuesday, I ate 2. And then Thursday, I ate 3. So, I totally get this line of thinking. No, the truth of the matter is that my routine has slowed down. My physical routine has slowed down. I was hitting 5 days a week in a lot of cases. Now it's down to 2 and 3. But I'll tell you, Monday I worked out. It felt good Monday when I worked out. Tuesday and Wednesday it felt awful. My quads were a mess. But Wednesday I woke up a little earlier than normal, and it was nice out for once in the last 2 weeks. And I actually I didn't do anything crazy. I just walked around my cul-de-sac 4 times. It's about a mile and 1.2. Put my earphones in. It was sunny out. It was about 58 degrees. And I started the first 40 minutes of the day by walking 4 times around the block. And I can tell you the next 6 hours went really well.
Dude, that's what happened to me. I get up and I go running. The endorphins start cranking through my head, and I can think clear. My body's not as sluggish. I'm active. I'm moving. Like last Friday before the show, I got on with Viral Marketing, my video company, and I recorded a video of my coach. He said, "Greg, what did you do this morning?" I went for a 4.1 mile. He's like, "Do that every Friday we record," because my brain was on fire.
Yeah,
we're just rocking it. And
Excellent.
By the way, Robert wants to see you in a Speedo, Gene. If you can.
I know, I caught that. I know. Listen, nobody wants to see that mess. Trust me.
Look, the Red X did an amazing study about 3.5, 4 years ago. And it was on the difference between producers who made $230,000 gross commission income or more, and producers who made 70,000 or less gross commission income. And there are about 10, 12 points in there, of which most of them I don't remember. But one of the crucial thing is that there are about 3 of them. Number one is that top producers got up in the morning and the first thing they did was exercise. Every top producer did this in the morning, first thing. And generally they were up early anyway, doing paperwork and things like that because it was quiet in the house and nobody else was bugging them. So that was number one. Number 2, they ended up doing what I'll call, how do I put this? Their prospecting was 45 minutes for 70K or less. It was 45 minutes a day. For the top producers, it was 90 minutes a day. So 5 days a week, 90 minutes they spent prospecting. What Red X found was that the people, because they were prospecting twice as long, had more opportunities. So the difference between 70K and 230K in GCI was huge. And these two things had a huge impact on it. The third thing they found was that every one of the top producers went to every educational session they could go to, and they sat within the first or second rows of every educational session because they didn't want to be distracted by anybody else behind them. So look, REDX, it was a great study, but the thing you definitely want to look at was physical exercise, continuous education, and they stayed focused, consistent, 90 minutes a day.
So to that point, I want to ask, and Greg, if you're okay with it, I want to kind of into distraction, right? So I have like a huge problem in my life, and I want to get your take on it. But before I go there, I actually used to have lunch, and I say used to. There was a friend of mine that I met years ago. He was a 77-year-old captain. And he recently passed a couple months ago. He had COPD, and it was it was tough on his body. But I'll never forget. He taught me a lot of lessons in our lunches, and I used to meet him like once every 2 months. And one of the things he said at one point or another, I let myself go a little bit, and he's like, "You look like you're putting on a little bit of weight." And we kind of went through. I said, look, I struggle with this. I do that. I'm drinking too much, and we got into it. And he said to me, I just got to ask you a question. You're trying to take over your industry and you're trying to be the best you can. And I said, yeah. He said, have you ever seen a fat lion? And I was like, it hit me like, wait, I was like, what? Wait, what? But he said, and I'll never, ever forget that. Have you ever seen a fat lion? And the answer is no. The king of the jungle doesn't mess around. He's not sitting around like a fat pig. He's lean and mean, and he's a killing machine, right? So, that always stuck in my head, and I thought that was crazy. But I wanted, and everybody's free to use that, by the way. But I wanted to ask you, here's where I struggle, right? I'm going to give you a real world, a piece from my world. So I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, both girls, one in high school, one in sixth grade, and I run my own business. I also am very, very energetic. I'm a type A. I'm high, like everything. I am self-diagnosed ADHD. I am all over the place. So what I did was about a year and a half ago, I did a study on myself, and I realized that when I was interrupted by whether it would be a notification from my phone, and we're doing this podcast. If you're watching video, you'll see my head. I'm looking over here. I got this. There's nothing even over here. I'll look over here just because I saw something. My phone will go off. It'll buzz. There'll be a notification on my laptop. But what I realized I was doing was with having to stop my business at a certain time of the day, pick up one of the girls, take her to dance, whatever the thing was, 3 times a week, just by having interruptions in my life and say working on a task, let's say, let me bring it back. So I'm working on a task.
Okay.
Firing away, phone rings. I pick up the phone. I'm talking. I was losing minimum 2 hours a day through a distraction. So I stop what I'm doing. I go to my phone. Can you help me with it? Okay, I moved to that. And then it was taking me 15 minutes to just focus back. What the hell was I doing again? I can't remember. It would take me, I was literally losing 2 hours of my workday, 10 to 12 hours a week on getting sidetracked. Thoughts on that? Tips and tricks for stopping that crap? Help me.
So I'm just going to say, just say no. Okay. And we'll just put it all under that umbrella of just say no. And here's why. Look, the research is so clear on multitasking. If you take that phone call, you take that Facebook notification, that ding, that text message, whatever it is, it usually takes you almost 20 minutes to 25 minutes to fully ramp back up into the task you're doing. Now, when I say fully ramp back up, what I mean is that when you were in the middle of that task, you were on it. You were mentally on it. You were firing on all cylinders. Generally, what you and Greg do requires, this creativity. His coach is telling him, "Hey, go run beforehand because you're on fire." So any type of distraction like that, it is unbelievable what the actual cost is. Now we talk about multitasking, and if you just want to multitask, try this. Go drive your car, then pick up your cell phone. I don't mean hands-free. Pick up your cell phone and have somebody watch the distance you go before you were actually engaged back in. The research shows that when you are engaged in activities like that, that basically what happens is you are almost 0.8% alcohol. That's what they would call it. That's your level of reaction time is about 0.8. And I think 0.2 or less than 0.2 is there. So look, here's the deal. If you're gonna focus on something, look, that you're picking your child up at a certain time, right? So you just block that. You say, no, that's when I go. Now, this goes to another part of it. Look, most of this part about distraction, I said, comes down to a choice. The problem is that most people make these choices because they get engaged in something. Now, the 80-20 principle, I don't know if your audience knows this, but I'm going to walk through it a little bit just to make sure they know. Vilfredo Pareto was a guy that was hired by the Italian government back in about 1890s. I want to say, I could be wrong, but I think it's about 1890s. The Italian government wanted to study how much of the land was owned by private individuals. And so they took out all the public lands. And then what he did was he studied. What he found out, guess what? 20% of the population owned 80% of the private land. Okay, this was interesting. Another country hired him about the same time. They come back, finds out exactly the same thing. Notice that in the country of the private land, 20% was owned by 80. Now, one day he's sitting in his garden and he looks over and he says, this is kind of unusual. To have it happen once is interesting. Have it twice, that's a little bit more critical. So he sees in his garden pea pods. So he decides to count the number of pea pods in each of the plants. He finds 20% of the pea plants had 80% of the pods. So when we talk about the 80-20 rule, this isn't some cool rule, isn't some, oh, that's nice. You want to think about the 80-20 rule like gravity. So Gene, in your situation, specifically, if you start to nail out what that 20% is, and you figure out how to cut out. So when I got on, I shut off all email, I shut off all phone, I shut off everything around me that would ding, bling, or anything else, because I don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay right here. So really, it comes down to identification, which is hard because trying to figure out what your top 20% is, I will say is difficult. It's easy to sit there and think you can do it, but quite honestly, it's difficult. That said, spending a little bit of time at it starts to come through. So, look, Gene, picking up your daughter, taking her over there, that's like on the top of the list, right? That's a 20%. That one's not hard. Getting your business done. So there's a exercise called time blocking, which is extremely effective. And look, if you're going to prospect 90 minutes a day, let's say you follow the REDX study. If you're going to prospect 90 minutes a day, you had better set that time aside so that nothing, and I mean nothing, gets in the way. So if we're looking at, generally, it's probably going to be 9 to 9:30 in the morning to about 10:30, 11, something like that, because that's a very good. COVID breaks all the rules now because everybody's home at all the time. And guess what? If you're an agent and you are not chatting with every one of your clients, your past clients, your people in your sphere of influence and everything else, you want to call up and just say, hi, how you doing? What's going on? The rules on, don't call right now are totally broken because everyone is so sick of seeing everyone in their own house that they are going to love getting your call. So look, this time blocking stuff, Gene, I would just say time block it. Nerds, look, turn your messenger off. I know agents who say, I'm sorry. It is after 7 o'clock at night, I've turned off my voicemail. You can leave a message for me here. Don't worry, I'll get it in the morning. But after 7 o'clock, and they train their clients. And this is what I recommend for everybody on here. Train your clients how you want to operate. Don't tell them 24/7. No, don't do that. That's insane. You guys need to have your personal time. You need to have your family time. You need to have your just me time. And you need to, somehow get Fortnite or whatever game it is out, and take it for a run and do your thing, with it. Solitaire, Sudoku, whatever.
You know what? The thing I like about this so much is that when I first started in the business 20 years ago, my motto was, hey, you know what, Gene, you know what? I'm so excited to work with you and your wife when it comes to, helping you guys buy a house. This my cell phone is operational 24/7, 365. If I don't pick it up, I'm either asleep or my battery's dead. When either one is resolved, I'll call you back and we'll get you in the house. How's that sound? And obviously you can tell I said that a lot. And they took that literally.
Yeah.
And they beat me like a redheaded stepchild, emotionally. And I finally said, fuck off. Look, this is how I operate. I do not work on the weekends. I work Monday through Friday. This is how I run my business. My weekends are for my family and my for my recharge time. Does that make sense for you? I'm nodding my head. They're like, yes. Mm-hmm. Guess what, guys? There has been 0 times in my career when people understand how I operate that they have ever not worked with me knowing how I operate my business.
Right.
They will call me up and be like, hi, Greg. Yeah, hi, it's so-and-so. I know you don't work on the weekends, but we kind of found a house, and was there any chance you could show it to us? And I'll sit there and be like, oh, fuck. Yeah, but I'm coming in board shorts and flip-flops. I hope that's cool. Oh, we're totally casual too. And they were off and running. And I actually had one of my clients, I told him I was going to show up casually. And I was in a polo and like khaki shorts and Vans. And he looks at me, and this is a direct quote when I step out of the car. I step out of the car and he does the up and down look. He goes, what the fuck, man? I thought you were coming casual. What's this collared shirt thing? And I love that because of the fact that, like, once you, and this is so true, and a lot of us get so scared, we have, a comment on the screen that says, struggle is real. What if I miss something? When you eliminate that from your brain and you start operating as a boss, not as an employee of what you're doing on a consistent basis, people will respond to the energy that you're putting out. So if you go out there like a meek sheep versus a hungry lion, there's going to be a different response. And people just, when they understand that and they move forward, they're like, oh, okay. So I can do that too. You're like, yes, bro, of course you can do it. I mean, because then I did find this though. A fat lion. There it is for you guys.
Hey, Greg, Gene, look, I think Echo has got a really great point at the bottom. Struggle is real. What if I miss something? And I'm just going to say, you are absolutely right. Struggle is real. Also realize that struggle is just a natural part of growth. So this part about what if I miss something, the most interesting part of this on distraction is, and this is one of the big things after working with clients for, 25, 26 years, whatever it is, I've noticed that almost every one of my clients come to me asking the wrong question.
Ooh.
So Echo, this is really crucial. What I want you to do is struggle is real, but I want you to start switching the perspective when you look at it. So this idea about asking the wrong question, the problem is that we go solve it, we get a solution, but the solution doesn't really do anything for what we're doing. So a way to think about this, since we have the fat lion up there, imagine, there's what do they call them? The whack-a-mole machines, right? Yeah. Where it's you're at the county fair and and it's got 9 little holes and you have a little rubber mallet, and every time a mole comes up, you knock it down. Okay, this is what most people do in the effort of trying to solve their business or their growth challenges, is they're constantly going at it. They think they got the solution. And this is part of why I like Echo's comment down here about it being so real. Is absolutely the person trying to knock those moles down. Really, the problem is if you want to knock all the moles down, what you do is you reach around behind the machine, yank the plug out of the electric socket. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then guess what? The moles stop coming up. So this part about struggle is real. What if I miss something? This one is like, I just want you to kind of flip this on its side and say, okay, what if this struggle is a choice? What do I need to learn from it? If I miss something, how would I respond to it? What's one thing I might miss in the process of this struggle? Now, Echo, I just want you to know I'm cheating a little bit because I have a lot more years of experience of making a lot more mistakes than you. So I'm able to look at my mistakes now and say, that one was really stupid, or that was crazy, or I no longer am going to do this. But this question about what am I trying to solve? What's the problem I'm really trying to solve? I want you to flip it over in your head. Just flip it over. Look at it a different way. Look at it upside down, inside out, right, left, whatever it is, and start saying, okay, if I miss something, what would I do? How would I handle it? What would it be? What are 5 things that I won't miss? Look at the opposite side of it.
And here's the interesting thing about your analogy, which I loved. The next morning when you go back to plug that machine back in, what's going to happen? The moles are going to be there again. It's the same day, right? So it's just a matter of you deciding on when you're going to unplug it so you get some recharge time.
So let's take this down a step further, because this is a thing that I've worked on with every client since the beginning of time. I just call it the symptom source solution model. When clients are working on something and they can't seem to get headway, in other words, they try solution after solution after solution, it tells me that they're trying to solve the symptoms. In our case here, the whack-a-moles are the symptoms. If they keep trying to knock them down, Gene, then basically you're getting nothing from it. So as soon as you start to work on the actual source, i.e. reach around the machine and pull the plug, and I know some of our listeners are going, Byron, if I knew exactly what it was, that would be easy. And I go, yes, I'm going to agree with it. So that said, this is why I wanted for Echo to start switching her perspective a little bit, because when you change the perspective, so I'll give you an example of a perspective shift. Almost everyone I know thinks they're not good enough, they're not fast enough, they're not good looking enough, they're not rich enough, they're not working hard enough, they're not smart enough. Can we go, Gene, should I just go on for about an hour and a half on this?
Yeah, right, you could.
So here's the one thing that I've discovered. This is what makes a coach different from either a mentor, a trainer, a consultant, etc. The coach actually looks at the client as if they're fully resourceful, fully capable, and fully functional. Again, fully resourceful, fully capable, and fully functional. Now, so if we take Echo's example and say, what if I missed something? And all of a sudden have Echo look at herself, say, you know what? There isn't anything I can't do. I know, just try it on. It's like accessorizing, but try this thought. I have everything I need. I don't need anything, and I'm smart enough to solve it. How would I look at this? And generally what I found in this whole distraction part, a huge part of this, is someone says, I can't, and fill in the blank. There's something in there that says, look, Greg's out doing 4 miles and 20 laps and stuff like that, and Gene's rolling over and sleeping, and Byron's doing 1 push-up. I can't do that. Whatever it is, I can't make, let's say I can't make over $100,000. That's impossible. There's this glass ceiling for anybody in sales, specifically in real estate, about $100,000. Once you make over it, you always make more. Once you don't, as long as you come under that level, you're going to find it a struggle. The idea about switching your perspective and actually seeing yourself completely functional, resourceful, and capable is that you begin to ask different questions. Now, tie this back to when I said the problem I've seen every client come to me with is they were trying to solve the wrong question. So their solutions kept coming up short on everything they did. So if this situation, and look, I will say it's near impossible for me to do it. I have a coach, and my coach does it for me, but he demands that out of me. So if you can actually say, okay, let's just try this on for a second. Around exercise, we'll use exercise. Around exercise. Okay, I've been drinking 7 days a week. I'm not really in the mood. It's just so nice and comfortable. I got a real nice coffee cake baking up. It's going to be a good dessert day. Okay, why don't we say, I'm going to go exercise. I'm certainly not doing 200 push-ups, but I'm going to go exercise. So let's do 1. And the surprising thing is if you'll actually shift your perspective and say, you know what? I'm totally resourceful. I can do that. You'll be surprised to see what happens. So distraction is a choice, but also moving forward or action, as you said, Greg, is a choice.
It is. There was a while back, and I always joke about being a chunkster. I'm not really, but I'm not. I have a little vanity weight, right? That's really kind of what bothers me. But I wanted to lose a couple of extra pounds, and I'm like, God, how am I going to fit this in? I've already worked out today, and so what I decided to do is I'm not going to sit down when I make phone calls. I'm going to go walk. And so every time I got on the phone, I got up and walked. And, it might be around the office one time or up and down the trail by my old office one time. I get a little sweaty, whatever, but I was constantly moving. I was becoming resourceful. Now, the thing is, guys, we have all the resources you could ever possibly want, especially in this day and age, to go live and be influential to multiple different people, to hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. We've never had that resource before. So now you have to think about how to be resourceful. The resource is there. Now be resourceful and figure out how to properly use this on a consistent basis. And everyone thinks the same thing about themselves. They all think that they're ugly, they're fat, they're not good, they can't do this, blah, 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 fill it in. One of my past coaches, he just mind fucked me one time. He's just like, I said, well, I can't do this. He's like, hold on, Greg, hold on. I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to try to stand up. And I'm like, what? It's like,
love it.
Try to stand up. I'm like, okay. It's like, good. What just happened right there? I'm like, I stood up. He's like, exactly. You didn't try. You just did it. And so it kind of got my brain moving. And instead of saying, and this is something that, Byron, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, is that he said, eliminate the word I can't or I won't out of your phrase and just purely put in, I'm in the process of fill in blank. I'm in the process of making 250,000. I'm in the process of making blah. I'm in the process of becoming the top producer, right? Because then that subconsciously speaks to your actions, and you start, instead of being the victim, now you start thinking of solutions, and you put your brain on fire. And you're no longer sitting there going, I can't do it. See, Bob beat me again from Remax. We hate Bob from Remax. And, and it's just, and then all of a sudden it's not like, oh, there's no solutions out there. Then it's like thinking about like, okay, how am I going to pivot? Like, what is available for me? Like right here, guys, this is my shoot sheet. Wow. This is all high SEO keyword, infused videos that I'm making because I'm pivoting. I'm seeing an opportunity. I went out and I bought my gimbal from DVI, my Osmo, and I'm learning how to shoot with that thing. I didn't know how to shoot with it before, and I totally screwed it up. And it would turn off and turn around and go upside down when I'm filming. But I'm stepping into it. Don't you giggle at me, Gene.
Is it wrong? That's still my favorite video of you.
Yes, it is. But I mean, I'm finding solutions and opportunities. I'm finding things that you can really do that no one else is going to be doing. It's going to make a lot of money for you guys, in the coming months and years. But you can't look at it going, oh, my business is dried up. I can't do it, coach. I can't make it. Well, Eric Thomas and by the way, guys, I got to meet Eric Thomas last week. I actually got to be on a panel with him. He actually interacted, and he said he wants to hang out and actually do something with me when he moves to California. I wrote that down 5 years ago in my goals, guys. 5 years I would share a stage with Eric Thomas, and it showed up last week. But I got excited about it, and I forgot the fuck what I was going to say. Oh, Eric Thomas. He has a saying, when you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. And that's kind of where my mindset has always been. If you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, if you were underwater and you absolutely, positively, without a doubt, had to take your next breath so you could kiss your baby girl or baby boy, good night tonight, you would do nothing to not get that next breath. But we all give ourselves out. We all take the distraction. We all take the easiest way because it's the lowest barrier of entry, and we know where it's comfortable. It's our safe zone, right? We never step out into our stress zone or our stretch zone where we actually push ourselves to that next level, to learn a new skill, to do something new for your life, to make that next level of whatever that's going to be. I mean, and the thing is, since everything in this world is energy, right? You not being your highest and best level, you are screwing Byron over, you're screwing Gene over, you're screwing Matt and his 3 obese would get fucking troll babies over, you're screwing me over. And if Byron and Gene and I and Matt didn't come and get our best, we're screwing you over. You've got to understand how that works and how distractions can take away from everything that you want to build.
Yes.
I will get off my soapbox and I'll give it back to the professional.
Well, look, there's a bunch of things you said in there that were absolutely brilliant. The brain is really unusual in how it accesses information. Yeah, it accesses the information. So let's say I love golf. So if I say to myself, do not hit it long. Let's just say, do not hit it long. let's say it's an approach shot. Don't hit it long. Don't hit it long. What my brain hears is hit it long.
Right.
It doesn't hear don't. So if you go through and you start saying, don't screw up, don't do this, don't do that, whatever it is that you're saying subconsciously, your brain says, oh, you want me to do that. So this is the part about having some type of affirmation. You talked about I'm in the process of, look, as an exercise, if every one of you when you're done with this, walk over to your mirror, look in the mirror and say, I am successful, and say nothing else and do nothing else. Just look at you and then watch what happens and, feel on the inside what happens. You start to get a relative bearing of what your level of believability is around that. Look, for the most part, I can't tell you the number of clients who tell me, look, I only make about 125,000, 150,000, GCI a year. And I said, oh, okay. Can we put this in relative perspective? NAR statistics tell us that puts you at about the top 5% of all realtors throughout the entire country. And they said, but I only make 125, 150K GCI. And I say, so according to NAR, that puts you in. So they can't hear the top 5%. It's why most people, when you talk to them today, and they say, oh, you're a millionaire? And they go, yeah. They go, I don't feel like a millionaire. Mm-hmm. And that is because we have some picture, apparently, I don't know who it is, that we have in the brain, but apparently we cannot and have the most difficult time actually acknowledging our own success because, and that's what I liked Echo's comment about, struggle is real. Certainly it is. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun along the way. And it doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. So the idea is I find that it's harder for people to acknowledge what they're really good at because they're so focused on trying to figure out what they're not good at and solve what they're not good at. Look, I'm glad that you have the SEO and you've got all the words down there. Bernice talks to me about this stuff. Bernice would be my wife. And I say, I'm sorry, honey, I cook, I play golf, and I like talking. But this whole SEO thing, no, that's not really high on my list. Or as my brother would say to me, not my job. So oftentimes my guess is that if you're freaking out over something, maybe it's not your job to do that. So let's take a specific example. You have an agent, okay, and they're out working a deal. And they're the type of agent, they're high integrity, they're high ethics, and they want the very best for their clients. And let's say they're buyers on this one. All right, so if this agent really pushes that motto, I want the really best, they may actually start doing things that they think are in the best effort for the buyer, but they may not have asked the buyer if that's what the buyer wants or needs. So this idea, and this is why, I'm so fascinated about this, but, if you don't ask the right question, and start figuring out what's really, making life a challenge for you or disrupting stuff. Look, you want to lose some weight? Don't drink for the next 35 days. Mm-hmm. Watch what happens.
Oh yeah.
Just watch it. It's weird. Your body will. I used to do this. Probably should do it. Don't know if I ever get to it because right now I'm working on old fashions for tonight's dinner.
I love
it. But you guys, if you'll just actually push beyond what you think is there, and you actually give yourself let's just say, for a moment, you say, I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt that I know how to do this, that I can figure my way out. And again, do what Greg said at the very beginning. If you just take a simple action step, then it's amazing what happens. So back to our agent who wants the best. If that agent were smart and said, how can I help you make the best decision possible? And I would tell every agent that your number one role is to help your buyer or your seller make the best decision possible. That's really your role. It's not anything else. It's not driving them around. It's not, it's not sweet talking. It's you're trying to give them information to let them process it because look, it's their house. It's their decision. And if you don't honor that it's their house and it's their decision, you start saying silly things like, when we list your house, when we close on the contract, no, there's no we here. You support them. You are of service to them, and your goal is to get them the best information possible. Now, COVID-19 is going to open up some interesting doors for us. There is immense chaos in the marketplace right now. Immense. A lot of the rules that people think are there. And if you're a newer agent, I want you to know you are sitting pretty versus an experienced agent. And I'll tell you why. Most newer agents don't have do this, don't do this built into their problem. There's a gap between new agents, experienced agents, and top producers. The top producers know what they need to do. They've minimized the list. In other words, they've gotten their 20% down. They've delegated everything else, got rid of it, found assistance, whatever it is, and they focus on that which is most important to them. The new agents don't know any better. This is great. When I was a new agent, I did stuff no one thought I should be able to do, and I got deals. It was when I became an experienced agent that I started to realize, no, I'm too cool for that. I'm too smart for that. No, I don't need to do that anymore. Ugh. So right now, everything is on the table. People are making decisions right now about their future, and that the agents who are in talking to them constantly through this process are going to end up with the transactions in the business. If you're waiting for everything to fall and get done, no, don't do that. I just want you to just do exactly what Greg said. Make the phone call, contact somebody, reach out to somebody, sphere of influence, whatever it is, make the call. If you're a new agent and you don't know how to help them, just simply ask a question. How can I help you? What are you looking for? Trust me, you can find the answer to almost any question with the resources that you have.
100,000%. That is an accurate statement right there, guys. You are way smarter than you think you are. You're way more resourceful than what you think you are. You have everything at your fingertips that you could ever imagine to get things done at a higher level than your competitors. But you have to you pivot, like we were talking about. Just pivot your mindset, pivot the way you think, and just stop allowing the negativity into your brain. Negativity is like having a tooth rot. Okay. I mean, this stuff is going to eat you from the inside out, and you're not even going to see it until it becomes too painful to bear. Then you go have that rip thing out. Eliminate that mindset right now. I had two things, and then we got to wrap it up here. But, when it comes to your mindsets, there was I forget who wrote this in what book. It could have, I think it could be Go for No. I think it was Go for No. And he talks about he was selling some suits. No, it wasn't this one. Anyways, fuck it. There's a guy who was selling suits. He got in there earlier. The general manager was in the store that day. Since he was the first in, he got the first opportunity to meet the first customer. The guy comes in. The customer says, "Hey, I want to buy a whole new wardrobe: suits, shirts, belts, pants, socks, boxers, cufflinks, you name it." He wanted it, right? Now, the interesting part about this is that the salesman walked around or saleswoman. We're not sexist on this show, as much as Matt wants us to be. No, I love picking on him because he's not here. This is so much fun. But you know what? The salesman went through the whole process of helping this client, but stopped at $1,000. And he thought he did a great job by selling the customer $1,000 worth of product. And the general sales manager comes over and goes, "Well, you did a pretty good job." And the guy said, "Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it." He goes, "Let me ask you a question. When did the buyer ever say no?" And the guy was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "When did he ever say no to anything that you were bringing them?" He's like, "He didn't." He's like, "Exactly. You stopped serving him when your limit was reached, not when his limit was reached."
Yes.
And that comes back to helping your clients. I have a client right now buying a $2 million home. She all of a sudden decided she wanted to look at a $2.7 million home. I'm like, "Bitch, can you actually afford that?" She's like, "I don't know. I'll see if I can do it." But it was my mindset of stopping to show her things. And when it comes down to your own personal power and value, for many years now, people have been referring to me as an influencer, and I literally poo-pooed it. I still kind of do it, and I need to work on that. I'm in the process of working on that. And because I didn't feel that I had deserved or earned that type of a title, right? Because I had in my head, oh well, Tony Robbins is an influencer. I'm Greg McDaniel. I mean, what does that mean, right? But I have accepted that and let and it does two things. One, someone gives you something, you're showing them respect by accepting it, right? So if they pay you a compliment, you just say thank you. You don't compliment them back. And so for me, my mental mindset shifted. I'm like, oh, okay, well, if people view me this way, that's the way that I am being viewed in the public, not the way that I view myself. There's a big distinguishing difference.
Yes.
How the public sees you, they will tell you what they see. If you're a fucking douche, you're a douche. If you are an influencer or someone of value, then when they tell you that, don't discard that. If they say that you're a great real estate agent, don't say, oh, it was nothing. No, own that. That's going to feed into what your subconscious brain is going to spit back out to your conscious brain going, dude, you are a rock star. You crushed that last deal. Go get it again. You can do it. You start believing that cycle, whatever it's going to be.
So here's what happens when you get beyond that. And Greg, that this is, just note this, when you get beyond accepting and owning who you are, you go to a really curious place. And that's called simply beginner's mind. And in beginner's mind, this was something that's kind of run through everything that we're talking about. Gene kind of talked a little bit about this early on. The sense of being really curious and asking questions is crucial. When you get to a beginner's mind, the effort, the impact, you just no longer think about you. You really disappear. So being an influencer is really cool. And as the old saying says, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. So before influencer, chop wood and carry water. After influencer, chop wood and carry water. So the idea is that you continue doing what you're doing. And the whole idea of an influencer really has nothing to do with, oh, I'm this, I'm that, or I'm anything like that. It just goes kind of quiet. And the same will be true for you when you do your business. You can see it in top producers. Some of the top producers, I will tell you, really have to, they have an itch that they will never be able to scratch. Sometimes that itch is give me the attention, but for most of them, that itch is give me the dollars. And I have no problem with that. In other words, they have a very clear value that if they're going to spend 1 minute of their time, they're going to get paid for that minute of time. So they work on very clear, not transaction, but exchange. They exchange your expertise. They exchange saving the buyer or the seller craziness going through the transaction, et cetera, and they expect to get paid. But Greg, just remember that there is this place beyond, I'm a rock star, I'm here, I'm that, it's cool and all that stuff. And it is so cool because when you get to that place, it gets, look, you guys can look at the Dalai Lama. There's a lot of people, you can look at to see this, but it is a very cool place, but you still chop wood and carry water at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, et cetera.
Absolutely, dude. Okay, so I've had entirely too much fun, and this hour just ran by super quick. We're gonna. I mean, this is literally one of the fastest hours I've ever done because I'm sitting here just enamored with Byron, just going, "Keep speaking, master." Yes. Throw me that nugget of goodness.
No. I am not worthy. I need. I am not worthy. I am not worthy. I am not worthy.
Yeah, real quick. Let me get this in real quick because I want to. This is interesting because as we were talking about this before about the distractions, I was doing some numbers. So I just backed into this, and it's obviously not perfect. But if we're talking about $10,000 of gross commission for an agent, let's say you're in an affluent area and you sell one deal a month, your commission's $10K, right? Or maybe 2 deals a month, whatever.
Okay.
If you go back to my model, which was I'm throwing away 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, because of my distractions. That equals, and what I'm assuming is that you're coming up with an hourly rate. So $10,000 divided by 20 work days in the month, right? 4 weeks at 5 days a pop, and I'm throwing away 2 hours. It's $62.50 an hour. It's $125 a day, or $2,500 a month that you're throwing away by being distracted. Like, so I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking to myself, I could have a shore house if I could focus. That would be my monthly payment on a shore house if I could focus.
So let's put it this way. These are not the distractions you're looking for. Okay, look. I'm gonna go all Yoda on you or whatever it is. I'm going all Star Wars on you. Look, here's the deal. For those of you who heard the numbers, and as soon as Gene started talking about the numbers, you start to find yourself go to sleep. Look, I'm going to speak to you for just a moment. Look, Gene figured this out. For him, he's a numbers guy. He gets it. It translates. But I want you to realize that if you really stay focused on what you're doing, look, you might do 5 deals in a month and spend a third of the time that you were spending. So the calculation of per hour per month, look, it's very common in real estate to do that. It's an easy metric to look at. I just want you to know that in some ways it's an illusion metric, because look, I knew someone who spent 2 weeks a month in Austin, Texas, where I live, and 2 weeks a month in Costa Rica. And she did her business. She was doing title business. She went away for 2 weeks, came back and did her business for 2 weeks. And I had a client who said, I hate her. How's she doing this? This is not right. You should work every hour of every week. I don't have the business. I can't get this. I can't get this. And I said, well, if I were you, I might really start rechanging what your mindset is around this whole thing. So, Gene, that's the only thing to look at, is you probably could get it. I will tell you that the one thing that I've seen top producers do over and over and over again successfully, and I'm talking about the ones that makes hundreds and even millions of dollars in GCI, is they are all about service. They are so clear on their being of service, which, Greg, that's what I was saying about when you go beyond I'm the influencer, I'm this. When you get beyond the ego of like, I make a bunch of money, or I do this, or I'm a rock star, or I'm a singer. When you get beyond that and you really just love your craft and you really go to service, it's amazing how much you can do. So, Gene, really kind of the question here is, how could you get the shore house and work half the hours you work? Not so much, how do I calculate what I give away? The answer is true, but how could I get done? Look, if we use, who's our guy? 4-hour work week, 4-hour body.
Tim Ferriss.
Yeah. Okay. So Ferriss was the one who really brought this to mind when he said, look, you don't need to put that much time in. But the only way, if you're going to work like Ferriss has you want to work, you had better be down, not on the 20%. You'd better have wiped the 80% out, but you'd better do kind of what Gary Keller says and go take that 20% and go a couple more times down, so you're left with the top 4%. So what happens is when you really focus on what you were really good at, and Greg, I think, look, this is a lot of fun because I know you work with Bernice, but it is, and Gene, it's a gas to meet you, but I have heard about Greg and heard about his energy and heard about it, and so actually getting to experience you full on is a real treat. But look, when you're really, this is the thing, is if you can look at your business, say, what is it that I'm really, really good at? What is it that, man, I am so good at short sales, whatever. And you really fall after that and you delegate almost everything else to the side, you're going to be amazed what your production can be.
Oh, dude, Byron, it goes back and forth, man. I love you. Byron and I have chatted a couple of times when Bernice and I were recording our training stuff, and he'll pop in, hair's all crazy. He's come back from the golf course. He's cooking something awesome in the kitchen. He's like, oh, I got to go. I'm like, gosh, dude, I really like that guy. I can't wait for him to be on the show.
Mexican martinis coming soon.
Oh, I want some.
Yeah, I'm in.
But we're definitely going to have you back, Byron, because I think that what you have is so powerful.
Be a delight.
And a lot of people right now they need it, and we all are this.
Good stuff, McDaniel.
And you guys, if you guys can't see this, I got a clip, a meme of I'm not worthy from what is it, Wayne's World?
Wayne's World.
Garth and Wayne.
So that's a little something. Gene, some takeaways from the show, please, because then we got to bounce out of here.
Yeah, I'm real quick. This, like you said, dude, this has been extremely insightful. It's making me think about some of the stuff I have to do. I like the way he twisted some of that stuff on its head and made me think about it from a different angle. I would love if we can figure out a way to do another one where we talk in depth about time blocking. I get a sense you're pretty good at that.
I think he is.
Yeah,
no, I suck at it. I like to play golf. That's how I time block. There's 2 hours, 4 hours of golf and 2 hours of beer. It's real simple, and then the rest of the day is gone.
So Greg, then we're gonna have another one where we talk to him about time blocking.
Sure, yeah, that sounds good. So it's all gonna be about our swing. Okay,
100%, man.
All right, Gene, where can everybody get a hold of you?
If you're looking at the podcast, you can see my little signature there, genevolpe.com. Get out there. There's a little widget there that will allow you to quickly tie your name and info in there and get in touch with me. We can set up a Zoom meeting and just kind of chat about whatever you want to chat about.
And we got Gene Volpe. Go to his website, guys. You can check out his speaker reel that I have up on the screen now. Take a look at what he's doing, where he's going, all this cool stuff he has done and is going to do. Hire him, book him, buy him, wine and feed him pasta. He'll purr like a happy kitten.
That's actually true. Stuff. That is true.
Make him run first.
Yes.
Make him run.
And Byron, where can everyone reach out to you?
Let's do realestatecoach.com. That's the easy one. Byron, BYRON at realestatecoach.com. And look, everyone, you got to know this. I hate email. I hate it. And I'm old enough now that I can actually go like this to my email. So if you want to reach me, the fastest way to do it, look, just give me a little bit of time on email. But if you want to reach me, my cell phone is 512-426-7095. I always respond to that. I respond to text very quickly. Unless I'm on the golf course. That's the only time.
And that's 6 hours of the day, guys. So you got to time it correctly. Okay?
Yeah, so between 8 and 9 in the morning, you can reach me. Otherwise, I'm gone. I'm baking. I'm cooking. That's it.
Oh my God, I love that. Echo and Kyle, absolutely love to talk with both of you guys. Go ahead and DM me on Facebook. We'll set up a time. We'll do a Facebook video call and we'll hammer through some stuff. Be my pleasure to do any of that. And then of course, guys, again, go to genevolpe.com or the Volpinator or whatever your fucking website is. And
no, that's not what it is. Say it right.
genevolpe.com.
There it is. And listen to me. Echo's my girl. She's from Northern Florida. Make sure you take care of her.
I absolutely will. So go here, watch his speaker reel, guys. Also, go make sure you check out Byron at realestatecoach.com. Hook up with him, hire him, and just remember, we are not worthy. Kimosabi. Okay. There it is, guys. We love you to pieces. Remember, go ahead and hit me up for DMs for questions, thoughts, theories, or concerns. If you like this, please share this with somebody. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. We cannot do this show without you guys and without your support. So we appreciate you more than you could ever imagine. But until next time, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.